You know, you'll appreciate that South Africans are concerned about this, because where there's a personal issue and personal relations breakdown, that's one thing. But when it has an impact on two very important institutions in our country, it becomes everybody's problem. You know, you're the group executive for employee relations. What's the sense of how, just on an employee point of view, this is playing out at SARS? Is it having an effect on employees?
Yeah, not to the extent that somebody might imagine. You'll know that 2 weeks ago, the union called Nehau also, sent a media statement requesting the minister to stop interfering into the affairs of SARS, and also asking him to stop attacking. So I think from the side of the employees are now aware where the problem is, and the employees are behind the commission of SARS. Is
this an attack or a valid criticism?
No, it's not a valid criticism. It's not a valid criticism. And I'll give you the facts. So since Commissioner Moyane came to SARS the last 2 years, we have beaten a target twice. So we've beaten the set target and the revised target, bringing about 998 billion the first time. The second time we brought over 1 trillion rand. In fact, what is not even mentioned is that the second time because we collect against the GDP, so we collect a percentage of the GDP. The second time, Commissioner Moyane and SARS collected 26% of the GDP. If you look at the last 10 years before the recession, SARS has been collecting within the 25%. So we've collected over 26% of the GDP. As we speak now with this 30 billion issue, which is just, I don't know. But if you talk about this 30 billion issue, we are actually, where we are now, we're approaching the 26% of the GDP. Because what people must not do, and I think people do this deliberately for their own reasons, when you talk the money, you are creating a wrong impression. So tax authorities collect their revenues from the GDP. So it depends on the economic growth, right?
All right.
Now, okay. How the targets are set, the statement explains that. So there is a committee that comes, the committee is consisting of SARS, South African Reserve Bank, and as well as Treasury. They sit down. So in February, they set the target, and they put an estimation of the economy. So in February, the minister said the economy is expected to grow by 1.2%, therefore I'm giving you a particular target. Then he comes back after in October and he checks whether the estimation was right. And we all know that the estimation was wrong because it grew less. So when it grew less, that committee looks at all the factors, all assumptions, and makes a decision.
But what Mr. Moyane said suggests that it's less about economic growth and our prospects for revenue collection, and more about other things like fraud and other factors that are related to the fact that that this kind of money and this shortfall exists of 30.4.
No, it's not fraud. He didn't say that. What he said, remember the allegation here that the minister says the reason for the shortfall is because of the performance of SARS. And we're rejecting that with the contempt that it deserves. It's not true. The reason why the 30 billion rand has to be cut is because of the economic factors. The economic factors that are determined by a committee where Treasury sits, South African Reserve Bank sits, SARS sits. In fact, that committee reports to the minister. So these factors which are in our statement here, and I can
around VAT collections, custom duties,
yes,
all of those
yes.
things. Okay.
Those are the factors that the minister is aware. And those are the factors that SARS does not have a control.
All right, so given, as you say, that the minister was disingenuous in the way he's prefaced the shortfalls and the reasons for the shortfalls, that Mr. Moyane is fighting back, what do you think are his motives then in doing so? Why would he wrongly inform South Africans? Why would he misinform South Africans?
To be honest, that's a question that we keep asking ourselves. So there are a lot of narratives. One narrative is that, and we're hoping it's not true, that it must not be like you are saying because I was the SARS commissioner and I performed, and any other person who performs, you're going to shoot him down so that you remain in the only better person who ran SARS. I mean, when the commissioner last year, when he issued this statement during the result, he mentioned that he's even reaching a point where he's feeling that it's as if he said that, no, this terrain is not for black people. So because he's a black person running what is regarded as complex, people cannot appreciate it, and therefore they shoot.
So petty?
I don't know. But that's a question that we're asking ourselves. Why should the minister go and say that 30 billion is as a result of the performance of SARS when he knows it's not that, it's the economy?
All right, if, as you say, that this problem must be dissociated from SARS and its ability to collect revenue and to function fully as it ought to, why is the tax ombudsman, for example, talking to us about, a deluge of complaints of people who are waiting for their refunds, of a stagnation in the process and escalation in complaints?
Yeah.
Is SARS functioning at optimal levels?
Yes, it's functioning at optimal levels. I'll tell you why. By the way, the Ombudsman started with Commissioner. So you can't even make a comparison of complaints vis-a-vis the previous Commissioner. So there was never an Ombudsman. That is the first thing. The second thing is that the issue that they are complaining about the refunds, we've got numbers here, and I'll give you the numbers. The numbers says the refunds. So if you look at the refunds, on personal income tax, we've paid 97% of the refunds within 72 hours. On the other refunds, we've paid 89%. Now, this is how refunds work. So you go and, as you know, you go to the e-filing, you log into the e-filing. And then you press the e-filing button and it says, no, you are owing, SARS must pay you 10,000 rand. So as a person, you expect the 10,000 rand. But then it goes to what we call a risk system. So there'll
be some audits and some fine-tuning.
So say, for instance, you are still working for eNCA, but when you submit, it shows that you have traveled 20,000 kilometers more. The risk engine is going to pick that as an anomaly. Then it sends it to audit, right? And the audit must audit. Now, let me give you very interesting numbers, by the way. By just putting the system in place, the risk engine in place, we're able in 2015-2016 to save the fiscus 12 billion rand of refund fraud. As I'm speaking to you now, as current today, we have already saved the fiscus 10 billion rand of refund fraud. Now, if people, including whoever, including the minister and people, are saying we must just pay people because the e-filing says we must pay, it means we would have lost 10 billion rand as we speak, because there is a lot of VAT fraud. And SARS has got a responsibility to verify all the submissions that are made to make sure that they don't pay the money that is not. As you say,
you are devolving the criticisms that the ministers made against SARS as being really personally motivated, not appraised of the reality and the facts. Are you at war with each other? Are these two entities at war with each other?
Now, let me give you another example before I answer that. On the 14th of February last year, we paid 149.7 billion rand of refund in money. 149.7 billion of refund. This year, we have paid 162.2. So this year, we've paid over almost 10 billion rand more on refunds. How does somebody come and say, you are withholding the refunds? They are doing this, Iman, because when we achieve the targets at the end of March, they want to say, yeah, they achieved the targets because they withheld the refund. We know it's a strategy. But when we are sitting, here are the facts, they are in our statements, nobody can dispute them. We are not in a war. All the Commissioner of SARS is asking for is for the minister to treat him with respect. The commissioner was in pain this morning, explaining that he gets shouted at, he said, screamed at in meetings. Our colleagues,
have you witnessed this?
No, I haven't. It never happened with me. What our colleagues goes to these meetings are called a girl from the contact center, stuff like that. People getting screamed at for 3 hours. So all the commissioner is asking for respect. The day when the minister came to SARS, when he was appointed, the following day he came to SARS, he refused. That one I witnessed. He refused to give Commissioner Moyane and Mr. Makoko a hand. He refused. He said, I'm not going to give you a hand. And that is not the first time. It happened another 2-3 times.
But
so those are even small
isn't that more about the historical acrimony between the two?
What is historical acrimony? One of the things that Commissioner Moyane clarified as well is that the media, and I don't know why you guys continue to do this, the media continue to say the Commissioner Moyane has opened a criminal case against the Minister of Finance. We have clarified it for the last 12 months. He didn't open any case against the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance himself knows that he didn't open a case against him. So the acrimony can't come from us. Then the acrimony can come from the minister. And that's why the commissioner is calling on the minister either to behave in a manner that shows collegiality and maturity for the sake of South Africa. If that fails, he's calling for the president to intervene. But the current situation cannot be let to continue but respect is very important here. Because Commissioner Moyane is not a small man. He's a man who have manned his stripes, and the minister must respect him. That is all he's calling for.
Overall, very concerning, I think, for the functionality of SARS, the Finance Ministry, and for South Africans in general. Thank you for
Yes, but you can assure you that SARS employees, their spirit, their morale is very, very high. They are working very hard to collect this 1.172 trillion. because we are going to collect $1 trillion. But the spirit is very high. We are not going to be distracted by all this noise. We know that South Africans need this money to develop this country, and we're going to work very, very hard for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Lou the Libello is from SARS.